Hello and Namaskar. Here we are together for another episode of Career Corner. And today we bring to you that discipline of engineering which is known to be the oldest, the most developed and the longest running discipline of engineering. At one point of time, perhaps engineering was equated with building homes, bridges, houses, complexes or whatever, or even towns. So, we are talking about civil engineering. Civil engineering which lays the foundation of civilization and hence the word civil. We would be talking to a stalwart of the field as is usual. Every day we come with one domain and one stalwart. Today we talk to Professor Senthil Vadivel Tyagarajan. Professor Senthil is the head of the department of Civil Engineering from the School of Engineering and Technology of Adamas University, Kolkata. Welcome to the show, Professor Senthil. Professor Senthil, first of all, let's begin with your evolution as a civil engineer and a civil engineering academic. Where did you start your journey? Where were you born? Where were you educated? Where did you start your journey? Did you practice in the industry first before becoming an academic? What achievements in academics you have, and how are you enjoying your current position? Over to Professor Senthil.
It was always been a great pleasure to talk to a young generation people who are the pillars of engineering, the pillars of society, and the pillars of the national building, and the parents of the same pillars of the society. So nice talking to you, sir, during this time in the pandemic, and I am talking to you regarding civil engineering. That makes me feel proud since that was my discipline. I am getting into about Senthil. People used to call me as Senthil. I am Professor Senthil Vadivel Tyagarajan. I completed my engineering in Coimbatore Institute of Technology, Coimbatore, in the year 96 to 2000. It was one of the finest engineering college in India and top 3 in Tamil Nadu. Later, I just joined, I was placed there itself with a triplet placement. I joined in Sundaram Architectural Management Private Limited as a site engineer. I worked there for 2 years, but urge of learning and passion of teaching pushed me towards my high studies. I started my high studies with the very first private deemed university from Tanjore, Shastra University, where I did my M.Tech Construction Engineering and Management. I love the discipline of constructions since from my childhood onwards, I loved to construct a larger building. Even I was having a very good marks in my 12th standard. My engineering college principal asked me, why you are selecting civil engineering? At the time, civil engineering is little low. People don't take civil engineering as their career. At the time, I have selected my civil engineering. Actually, I am an opted civil engineer. I will be proud for saying this. At the time, he asked me, why you have selected civil engineering? Since at the time, I was not very brilliant enough to talk about my construction mastery. But I said, I want to construct something which is remarkable and something going to say my name for a longer run. That made me to come into construction engineering and management. I took charge for 2 years there and I was the stopper of the batch. And later, from there, my academic career started. I started my lecturing from Magendra Engineering College, one of the autonomous institutions in South India. From there, my career came up to this of 2 decades of experience in engineering and technology. And I took my time in between for my research, and I did research in the area of sustainable and building materials. And I got awarded my doctorate from Anna University, Chennai in the year 2013. Almost my 2 decades of experience even taught me how to teach for the younger generation the current technology in an easiest and disciplined way to make them attractive, make them involved into education. So I learnt a lot, and through my learning I am making a participatory learning environment to my students, and I involve my students in wherever I go. I involve my students for doing research. From there, my career started, I completed almost 100 plus research article in civil engineering, and I organized many conferences, symposia, quizzes, FDPs, it means faculty development programs, to develop my own faculty colleagues and my own student friends, organizing a different guest lecture by the prominent guys from the industry.
Great.
This is how my career begins.
So over these 20 years of working across industry, across educational institutes, what is the proportion like roughly? How many years in industry?
Yeah, 16 years I was in teaching. I was in industry.
You are in teaching 16 years.
Yes, sorry.
And the first 4 years you were in industry.
Yeah, sir, but still civil engineering is the field where you can connect yourself industry for a very long time.
So as a consultant?
So I do my consultancy during my college day itself. So almost all the 20 years I was somewhere or other connected with industry too.
So that's good. That brings in practice and education, or theory and practice together. It actually helps youngsters also to be associated with real life projects in project management, in various aspects of the project which you take up. That's indeed good. Civil engineering has been the mainstay of engineering in 19th, 20th century. I mean, as early as one can remember. If you could throw some light on the evolution of the field of civil engineering, how it started, what it evolved into in the industrial era, the industries 1.0 and industries 2.0, and today when we are at 3.0 and moving to 4.0, or rather in some economies at 4.0 and moving to 5.0, where has civil engineering come? So the evolution of civil engineering as a discipline, if you could explain.
Yeah. Sir, actually, I wanted to put you in a different sense. See, civil engineering started when people started fearing about sun, fearing about lightning, fearing about thunder. Then they just started hiding themselves in the cave. There, civil engineering started. From there, it developed into temples, it developed into pyramids. Now, we are almost there in International Space Station, where civil engineer always taking a role, always taking up a challenge, and always advancing towards the civil engineering, advancements of civil engineering towards the civilization requirements. So when civilization grows, civil engineering will automatically grow. That was the fundamental. Getting into deeper things of civil engineering, see, when the very first started engineering, as far as we concerned, it was military engineering. There, weapon development is the basic. Later, all the people's societal needs comes into picture, like you want survey yourself for the basic amenities. Like basic amenities, you need to say your food, your dress and shelter. Without that, no one can live. So that comes civil engineering starts. Then people started constructing their own buildings. From there, it started towards development of the society, where drainage facilities, water facilities, infrastructural facilities, where roads and roads development to make a proper communication between people, all the places civil engineering started. See, I could point out this way, it may be a myth, but NASA proved it once. When if you go to the space station, you can see two wonders of the world. One is China Wall, other one is maybe I going to assume it Japan Fujiyama Airport, which was in the water. So even if you are there in the space station, civil engineering works. You can see the civil engineering mastery. That is where civil engineering growth. See, when you wanted to develop your technology, when technology start developing, the revolution starts. From the revolution, civil engineering plays the vital role, since whatever industry development requires, every development requires an accommodation to create the wonder. So whenever you wanted to do something in science and development, in industry development, whatever may be, there civil engineering comes. So this is about the story of the civil engineer. Let me put it in the easiest way to others. See, everybody's life will be complete when they construct their own dream houses. and the civil engineer is one of the part who gives the hand to the people, to the society, to bring their innovation, illusion comes into picture. So we believe civil engineers are motherly good, civil engineers can get into the motherly good feelings where when a mother taken a child on his hand, how good he feels, the same feeling can be registered by a civil engineer when he constructs a building.
Okay, every building constructed is a child. Wow, that's a good analogy, beautiful thing. In recent times, particularly over the last 15 years, there is a change coming up now, but since the last 15 years, the domain of civil engineering as a preferred choice of educational destination has gone down. There has been a decline in the number of people and interested in studying civil engineering, and many engineering colleges of the country, there are more than 3,000, have been actually cutting down seats as well. Why do you think it has happened that way, and where does it take civil engineering as a profession, as an education henceforth from here onwards?
It's really true, sir. I accept last 1 decade. I would have spell it like 1 decade. Definitely, civil engineering gone down because of a specific reason. Lot of already developed civil engineers are searching for their jobs with different domains where they are not fit for it. See, the real engineering lies there. You need to identify your own seat, where you wanted to put yourself. That's where you grow, and that's where you're going to place yourself. But what happened in between, a mild change happens where we stop developing constructions. See, almost the bigger cities are almost covered with all the development scenarios. They believed there were no further development, and especially I want to point it out, at the time government jobs also getting reduced. So people start that career of civil engineering goes down. At the similarly, suddenly IT sector get a big boom. That boom made everybody push. See, we have a short-term memory. When something grow immediately, people will switch over to that. So everybody started going towards IT sector. So IT sector started grooming. To be frank, as a civil engineer, I was enjoying when IT sector grown. Why? Because if IT sector started growing, automatically they need accommodation. They will develop their infrastructure.
Right.
And when they wanted to go ahead, during the travel, they need to develop their communication. For that, roads development need to be happens. See, civil engineer are the only guy who will enjoy others' achievement.
Very
because
good. Very well
whenever they want to develop, that development will just develop the civil engineering field also. Right. So civil engineering is an evergreen field.
Undoubtedly, many IT districts, IT townships, and special economic zones, everything have come up where beautiful outcomes of civil engineering plans, designs and constructions have come up. And also it has given rise to a new lifestyle which have led to shopping malls and hyper stores and all that, where also your skills or your professional skills have come of use. Very well said that IT sector's rise finally also aided civil engineers' career. But there has been a decline for sure, as you said, also for the last 10 years. Where do you see it going now on? What new developments or areas are coming with this in the domain of civil engineering which can take it further to the next level?
Yeah. To be frank, I want to thank you for this question, sir, actually. Since people need to know this. See, every 12th year plan you just see. 11th year plan, infrastructural development, they concentrated with 512 billions in dollars. In the 12th year plan, 12th 5-year plan, it increased to $1 trillion US. So it's just double. See, whenever we are concentrating towards developing our 5-year plan, our concentration is GDP. In the 12th 5-year plan, it was concentrated about 8.3% GDP need to be increased. Then they thought that in 2032, our country should be third largest economy. If you wanted to achieve this, then your infrastructure development is a deficit in our country. So you need to develop infrastructure. For that, larger amount of projects started in India. I already pointed out in the 11th plan, it was 512 billion, now it is $1 trillion US. Majorly they concentrated on power sector, roads and development, airport, port and railways. See, these are all asset developments. Here 60% asset need to be involved only in construction parameters. That is, construction potential is almost 60%. So recently this started growing towards in this scenario, first point. Second, 100 smart cities. You just understand, largely they are slowly getting into smart city development. They selected 100 cities. In 2020 only, they have invested 6,500 crores in it. So this straight away hit to the node of civil engineers. So civil engineer can use this kind of a larger budget. So where comes, where do they search for civil engineers? Since I already pointed out last decade, there is no civil engineering alive. So who else just going to be completed? The guy who just started 2016 batch, who going out to 2020, who started 2015, who went out 2019. They are the pillars who going to construct these kind of structures. I wanted to project another statistics also here. See, the required civil engineers for completing this task, 95 billion square foot construction is required within 2021. For this, we require roughly 4 million civil engineers, but available is just 6,50,000 civil engineers, and we need architect around 2.36 lakhs, but what we have is just 65,000. We need planner is around 1.65 lakhs, but we have just 18,000 planners. Where the people search? They will search the young minds, they will search the fresh engineers, they will push them in training through internships, through vestibule training, that is during the education itself they will train them and they will adapt them to the constructions. So it gradually growing because of the current projects. And this government also announced different projects: village road development, housing for everybody, and then sanitation for the entire India.
Right.
See, these projects, who else? You, who going to join fresh as a civil engineer, after 4 years you are the market and you going to fix the market.
Very well said. You know, there is a lot of talk about sustainable construction, sustainable engineering, and there has to be green construction, green engineering. Homes, roads, workplaces all need to follow certain environmental friendly, ecological, sustainable methods, schemes, styles and technologies. Could you talk on this, the entire gamut of sustainable housing, sustainable lifestyle, sustainable construction, sustainable township? How can it be? What are the parameters for that? What sort of education is required for that? What elements in civil engineering education should be brought in for that?
This is the wonderful question again, sir. Even I thought you being a civil engineer than me, then your questions looks like that. When I talk about sustainable construction, I thought of telling my own research, since that was related to sustainable environment, which is going to develop a sustainable environment. See, you need to understand whatever you're going to make as a waste, that's become a wealth. If you understand this parameter, that whenever you are trying to put something as a waste, kindly think once whether it's going to be really into the dustbin or it comes to in the commercial market where it's going to create a new product. If you think in this direction, a lot of waste material can be recyclable, can be reusable, and that can be creates a wonder now. See, I selected a material which was 4 billion tire wastes are created every year globally, which was almost durable. You can't able to make it easily disposable. It is not easily disposable too, so it's become a waste. People thought it is a waste and they started dumping. When they started dumping it in land, over a period they started searching where to dump. There was a empty land need to be required to do this. If they do in the empty land, what happens? It become a breeding ground. So mosquitoes will develop and it lead into pollution. So people started thinking how innovatively use this material into construction. See, why I said use into construction. Construction is the only solution where you can hold some material for more than 50 to 75 years. Since it was a permanent building where you can deposit something like that and it will be there for a long. So I thought, why can't we use that as a construction material? But people started using it as a coarse aggregate, fine aggregate. But what I thought, now seismic design is into picture. People are worrying about earthquakes, where what mistake we did previously, now it started attacking us. So I thought, how this dynamic loading conditions may be corrected by means of this waste material. Now I am going to remove that word waste material, since nothing is waste in the world.
Right.
See, if you identify the right place, then everything can be reused.
Residue management, waste management, you can
Yes.
talk. It's not wasted. It can be further
Yeah,
used. Yeah.
whatever you're trying to say, you just understand before you say it is wasted, think once.
Yes.
If you do that, you are starting your sustainable environment. First point. Second,
That's a very good message. Anything you think wasted has a use. And if you can use that in some constructive manner, that's the beginning of sustainability. A good point indeed. Yes, carry forward,
Yeah.
Professor Senthil.
yes. So, next is you need to identify the right place for that. So, I suggested construction is one of the right place because it covers more than 75 years there. So, what I thought, I connected both the issues, that this waste material and why can't I think it as a smart material, since it has almost the capacity of high deflections. Since rubber will deflect well. If I make it a small load, it will be elongated more. So it has a parameter that serviceability loading conditions. So I tried this waste rubber as a reinforcement. So what happens? It given me double the time of deflection than the normal one. So it's just a starting process. Similarly, you feel lot of plastic water bottles are wasted, PET bottles are wasted. We are throwing it in water. Gangetic zone is popular for this, and it start from there and settling down in Kolkata now. And how to reuse this? So we identified crashing it into powder. We can make it as a effective reuse for a mortar. We created in our university. We created plastic mortar. It is the second generation material. We made non-virgin material virgin again. See, this is only possible in engineering. Wherever nothing, where you can't do it in anywhere else. Engineering and technology is the source of all kind of invention you can try of. Even we are believers of temples, right? We are going there and we are making floral there, and we are making prayer. These florals are tons and florals are become wasted. In our institute, what we tried, using this floral waste, we converted this as a incense sticks with different flavors.
Very good.
See, everything has one end point, but before end point, how much time you can reuse it and recycle it? Just
In
think
fact,
of
that's the mantra of the new world, post-COVID new world: reuse, recycle. And this is important because not just reusing, even upscale it. You can actually not only recycle, but you can upscale and then further recycle it. Indeed, that's a very good point you brought in. I would still ask, when people look at sustainable town planning, what are the parameters they look at?
Yeah.
So sustainable housing, what are the parameters they look at?
Yeah. Sir, whenever you use sustainable word, I need to think 2 points. One is energy sustainability, second one is water sustainability. If I can make these 2 parameters within the limitations, then sustainable environment may be at my doorstep actually, to be frank.
Right.
For that, what I need to do, I need to think of sustainable energy by means of renewable energy sources first. Second, I need to think of utilizing energy in a different manner. See, normal tube light consumes more power, go for CFL bulbs. Like that, whatever you are doing in a small area of investment, think in a different way and put it in a picture in your construction. Then coming into uses of materials. See, before that, we use newly purchased material from various places. Now, whenever I started digging my own construction land, I identify stones, I'll try to use the same stone for my constructions. Then what happens? I can sustain myself within the available material.
Yeah, these are at micro level,
Yes.
at an individual's level, at an individual construction level. If we have to look at a town planning, when does it become sustainable? What sort of parameters should be resorted to?
Actually, smart city is not a straight away a sustainable concept, but when I go for sustainable development for a town planning, I need to think how I can, again I need to talk about making the waste into wealth, I believe. Since whatever waste material going to be developed in the township, I need to reutilize the same for the same township again. Say if I wanted to waste my toilet water there, then that bathroom toilet water need to be recycled and that should be connected with my sink, that is water closet.
Right.
Like that, each individual part I need to think of.
Look at sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability. That's
So
what.
coming to your Department of Civil Engineering, School of Engineering and Technology, Adams University, Kolkata, what sort of human resources you have in the faculty? What sort of infrastructure you have for training the future civil engineers? What sort of specialization areas you have within the BTech and beyond BTech in MTech? Is there a research environment growing in the department? If you could talk about the programs and the environment there.
Yeah. My department, it was a blended department. We have well experienced high research quality professors and young, within 5 years experience, dynamic youngsters. It was a good conglomeration, I can say. Second, civil engineering is a vast discipline. We people believe civil engineering straight away construction, but it was not so. In that, lot of disciplines are there. They are called structural engineering,
Right.
environmental engineering, transportation engineering, water resource engineering, hydraulics, geology, geotechnical engineering, disaster management and mitigations, geoinformation and technology. Like that, Sir already pointed out smart infrastructure and management, repair and rehabilitation areas, like earthquake related areas. Like that, the specialization is very vast. Whatever area, if you feel which support to the civilization or civilians, that will be considered as a civil engineering specialization. So my department almost have mixed specialization. I have a structural engineer on board, I have a construction manager on board, I have a faculty of transportation engineering, I have a faculty of geotechnical engineering who designs foundation. So it was a good combination. So one student who opts civil engineering in my institute, they can learn from the masters. First. Second, we have a beautiful research team with us. 2 of them are doctorates and one who working with us is already worked as a scientist in CSIR, and myself have more than 12 years of research experience. So we have a good team and we created Center of Excellence on Waste to Wealth also. So what happens, who students get in, they will get a real-time experience in research. So what going to be their future, they can able to predict here. First. Second, I need to talk about my curriculum. My curriculum is a wonderful industry-based flexible curriculum. I mentioned the word flexible curriculum. Why? Whenever industry demands something new, I include in my curriculum immediately. My research board, my board of studies and my academic council is supports for this and immediately reacts to the current technology. So sir pointed out Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0. Even Industry 6.0 is coming, will come, and immediately I can able to be ready with that, with the requirement. So I was okay with teaching the basic fundamentals to the youngsters, and meanwhile I'll giving them immediate recent advancement where they need to handshake with the current industry needs. So that's what my curriculum gives. Second, my department have a beautiful infrastructure. We have 8 laboratories which touched upon structural engineering, geotechnical engineering, where people need to check their soil and rocks data, where they can find what kind of foundation they need to do and what kind of a design they need to go. Then from there I have a transportation laboratory where I can check all the transport based materials there itself. Then I have concrete based laboratory where I can check the materials related to concrete. I have environmental engineering laboratory where the current requirement we said pollution and effects that affects to the environment, those kind of environmental parameter characteristics can be checked in my laboratory. So it's the second part. And then third part, I believe in holistic approach, and my institute SOET School of Engineering and Technology believes in it, and that was the goal of the university too. So what we do, whatever we try to apply, that we wanted to immediately react to our students. So what we trying to do, we will give expert lectures, seminars, quizzes, and we allow them to interdisciplinary level to create new projects. Recently for sanitizing, we created a project with pharmacy department, electronics department, mechanical department, all together they created a project. So this kind of a capstone project is possible with our curriculum. And then we always motivate the students to participate different programs. It may be a cultural or sports event or technical events where their holistic development can be taken part.
Great.
Then
what sort of you complete.
Yeah. Then we have a great CDC cell, career development cell, and professional studies. Career development cell taking care of placement, training related activities, and overall career development of the students. See, I don't want a product who just go work in the company. I want to develop their attitude, their skill set, where they can become an entrepreneur, they can create their startups. For that, our CDC cell is supporting. Our professional studies is helping them to understand what kind of higher studies they can take in part. And the beautiful part of our university is we have more than 20 to 25 foreign university collaborations where international research environment can be made over, and student can use this opportunity to make their development.
That brings us to an overview of the courses, the programs that you bring in, the various USPs that you have. What sort of research environment is PhD happening at the moment?
Yes, sir. Actually, since I talk about my USPs, I forgot about mention my programs. I add my programs, then I'll get into the research part, sir. We have traditional BTech program here, BTech Civil Engineering, but I told you we have a flexible curriculum already. So the current need is smart cities. So rural and urban development will be taken care of based on this. So we created a new curriculum, a new program, which going to help for the current generation student to straight away connect them towards this smart city development. For that, we created a new specialized program, BTech Honors in Smart Infrastructure Management. Then we have MTech specializations, MTech in structural engineering, MTech MTech in environmental engineering, MTech in construction engineering and management. These three are pillars of civil engineering. We have all these three branches. Then we have already I pointed out we have a good research team, and we have a quite good student in research. We have already 3 researchers enrolled. Researchers are enrolled, and they are doing research in the area of geopolymer concrete, in the area of rubberized geopolymer concrete, and fiber reinforced concrete, and one researcher doing research in plastic waste as a wealth material. So these kind of a research program also started. This bring out the best support to UG and PG student to connect with the researchers who currently doing research.
Great. So research also is a part of the component of civil engineering education there. How do you rate your civil engineering education vis-a-vis at least the eastern and northeastern Indian various universities and institutes education in civil engineering? Need not be a comparative study, but how do you rate, in the sense what factors would you consider as the top, what factors average, what factors which need development, the challenges are there, if you could talk on that.
Specifically, I talk about, whenever you wanted to talk about the department infrastructure, I need to talk about three phenomena. One is faculty development, second one is how I support to my student, that is called student development, and the third one is my university, that is department development, which is going to help to the university. In these three factors, how my department reacts, that's what I am trying to focus on. Normally, my department faculty team is quite good, which have all the specialization on board, so I can compare and rate this. Whatever topmost institute in India, they have the similar set of people with different specializations. So I also covered with all different specialization available. Second, for student development, when talk about student, they worry about infrastructure. I already pointed out I have state-of-art laboratory structure and I have research quotient also. So that will, it was growing. It started growing, but definitely within 5 years, this research phenomena will be equal to the on par to the government institutes which are there in West Bengal.
Great.
Third, career development. I already told we have a great career development cell which active in all the days. Even in this pandemic, they created internship, no touch and less touch internship they have given to their students. So automatically this part student development also covered. Then holistic approach of student development also touched upon, since we are organizing events, quite a few. Actually every month we will try to organize at least one event to encourage our students. So student development carried forward. Then coming to university development and faculty development. Faculty development, see, faculty are the pillars of the university. So we give regular training to the faculty in their technical side, in their non-technical side, which may be they are weak, they are suddenly get into stress, how to reduce their stress, how they encourage themselves, motivatory classes, and then technical classes. We have a staff faculty matrix system. If we identify in which area my faculty need a development, it is like a SWOC analysis: strength, weakness, opportunity and challenges. If I identify my strength of my faculty, I push them towards the strength first, then weakness should not disturb me. I wanted to at least sustain his weakness. Then he himself will plan for his opportunity and he will ready to face the challenges.
Great. And passing out from the department, B.Tech or M.Tech, what are the career opportunities you see? I mean, even as entrepreneurs as well, and as employees in various organizations, what type of organization, what type of roles that the students are getting?
Yes. Sir, in civil engineering, the fundamental opportunity lies in central government and state government.
Right.
Lot of central government opportunities and state government opportunities are there. For that, students need to be ready for their competitive examinations. Adamas University is the brainchild of RISE Education, where we have a best team for doing competitive examination training. So from there, they can get into both central government and state government jobs. Central government job means CPWD, railway department. If they wanted to
Yeah, there are various other departments
Yes,
on which they can go.
various other
So,
departments.
what are the private sector corporate jobs
Yeah.
that you can look at?
In state government also they have many options like roads and development, village like Panchayat Raj schemes, and then wastewater and water treatment plants. These are all government sectors. Coming to the private sector, bulk of opportunities are available in private sectors. Start with Larsen & Toubro, Hindustan Construction Company, Sarpanchi Palonji, ETA Ascon, Nagarjuna Construction Company, Tata Projects, Tata Consultancy Engineering. Like that, there were a huge list follows, and people will get jobs in this company by means of identifying their right roles. See, still if you are a student searching for a job of a draftsman, for a site engineer, that won't work. Now your thinking pattern should change. See, if you check a site engineer or a draftsman now, you hardly find jobs like 10 jobs, 15 jobs, 20 jobs. Now those jobs are out of the market. You need to think yourself as a BIM analyst, where building information model development came.
Building information model, BIM analyst, right?
Yes.
What sort of entrepreneurship can come out of civil engineering?
Sir, civil engineers are known for startups. With a very less cost, they can become a entrepreneur and they can create a startup companies. How? If I have just I can divide into two parts. Entrepreneurship, one is skill based, other one is material based. If I make skill based, if I work for 10 years in a company, definitely I would have been ready for starting my own projects. Initially, I don't have much investment towards doing it, then I can become a consultant. I can do contract consultant, client consultant, and architectural consultancy, estimation and planning. And still, lot of foreign companies, now this pandemic situation, they also not able to bring their employees to their companies, to their chairs. So these companies will start searching for freelancers. And even a girl who doesn't want to go for a job after marriage, sitting in front of her kitchen, she can become a detailing engineer. She can become a design engineer, where lot of private projects, freelancing projects are available. Then coming to the material side, they can develop with a small innovation if they identified lightweight materials or any waste into a product. I still remember in my previous institute, with my support, one of the students created a lightweight brick. The brick normally will be around 2.8 to 3 kgs. And he created a brick of 1.5 kg using foam. It was a vegetable waste which was created as a foam, and using that foam, we created aeroclone blocks. Now he became a startup company owner, and he created his own plant. Great. So this kind of a small projects they can start. Great. Then even materials, they can become a supplier of materials, and they can become formwork. See, every construction is believed in formwork. They can either rent the formwork or they can able to create their own formwork for the different constructions. This can be. And for an architectural appeal, we people use stucco plastering outside. But cleaning stucco plastering is very difficult. If you make any process for cleaning stucco plastering, that has become a business. See, during construction, cleaning the site in pre-stage and post-stage is very important. If you make an effective process, that has become a business. Right. See, civil engineering is the only place, if you think one issue which is relevant to civil engineering, soon that become a business.
That was Professor Senthil Vadivel Tyagarajan for you, the head of the Department of Civil Engineering, School of Engineering and Technology, Adamas University, Kolkata, bringing to you how the domain of civil engineering has evolved over the ages, and from traditional constructions to modern constructions which are sustainable, which are futuristic, which are smart construction, how it has evolved. He has also talked about smart cities, new form of urban development, smart homes, and how they have brought in a new lease of life to civil engineering. One very important point that he emphasized, when any field grows, it needs infrastructure. And when infrastructure grows, civil engineers are needed. He also underlined the major aspect of waste to wealth, how any and everything which you consider as waste in our homes, in offices or in construction sites can in some way or the other be turned into some form of wealth, some form of recycling. And the other aspect that he has brought in is the aspect of entrepreneurship. Apart from government jobs, corporate construction jobs, there is a huge amount of entrepreneurship possible for civil engineers, whether it's a skill-based entrepreneurship based on design thinking, on detailing, on budgeting, on many things, construction, also material entrepreneurship connected to supply of materials, creation of materials and all those things. So here we have an overview of civil engineering at Adamas University, brought to you by the head of the department, how detailed it is, how infrastructurally strong it is, how human resource wise strong it is, what sort of projects are being done, what are the focus areas and the futuristic areas that the department has. And we look forward to many youngsters becoming the harbingers or the makers of new India of tomorrow through construction, various forms, whether roads, bridges, homes, commercial complexes, sports complexes, so on and so forth. With that, we bring this session on civil engineering to an end. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Senthil Vladivil Tyagarajan.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, welcome to Adamas. My research is on my way. I am very much proud to be a part of Adamas University.
Cricket is my passion and I am proud to be a part of Adamas University.
You have misused, I believe.
Hi, I'm Debosmita Biswas.
This is Kunal Kanti Maiti.
I'm Srijoni Paul. This college has given me placement in one of the best companies in US staffing, which is Iconma. I am proud to be a part of Adamas University.
Pursue excellence. Adamas University.
Biosciences and technological developments based on biology, including entrepreneurship in this sector, are on the rise in India. We are home to many developments in all forms of biotechnological products with applications in food, nutrition, healthcare, packaging, etc. The unique BTech and BSc programs in Adamas School of Biosciences and Biotechnology are path-breaking academic innovation in this sector. Welcome to the world of biotechnology. As India aims for $5 trillion economy, the nation needs a large pool of trained economists and commerce graduates, focusing on taxation, macro and microeconomics, etc. Adama School of Economics and Commerce is in the mission preparing finance and economics professional to lead this journey with value-added modules on the stock market and big data. Education today is changing the traditional chalk and talk method into new age experiential learning. New techniques like flipped classroom, case study method, and increasingly higher component of learning by doing are changing the game. Also, evaluation processes are evolving from just semester end exam to continuous evaluation, jury judge practical work, life projects, and whatnot. Adama School of Education prepares these new age teachers for schools and colleges of India. It is important to be on the right side of the law and even more important to ensure justice for all. The Adama School of Law and Justice firmly believes in this dictum. With moot courts, national and international seminars, debates and initiatives of various type, the law school offers integrated courses with BBA, BCom and BA as well, with different focus areas. A top-class hands-on engineering and technology education with high emphasis on soft skills, emotional intelligence, artificial intelligence learning, the Adama School of Engineering and Technology is a trailblazing institute. It integrates learning in the classroom with the laboratory, workshops, and the factories or the corporate offices. It is also associated with several universities in the world. With a 24-hour work culture, Adama School of Management prepares professionals for marketing, human resources, finance, supply chain management, and pharmaceutical management for the new Indian economy targeting $5 trillion annually. Close association with several top corporate houses and intellectual talent in the classroom, the school is proud to have one of the highest placement records in East and the Northeast India. With a 2% share of the India's GDP, the media industry is growing faster than India's GDP. And with the world's largest number of films and television channels, it is the national informer and entertainer. With more than 1,000 films a year, cinema is our soft power. News, entertainment, brand communication, we lead Asia in all. And a multi-skilled multimedia talent is being trained in the Adama School of Media and Communication. Pharmaceutical technology is on the rise in India in particular and Asia in general. And newer research in medicine is modernizing the sector immensely. We in India have the fastest growing pharma sector in the developing world today. Adama School of Pharmaceutical Technology, with its superb and detailed laboratory facilities, has one of the best pharma schools in the nation waiting to welcome you. There is no more intellectual pursuit of knowledge higher than the liberal sciences, which encompass physics, chemistry, mathematics, geography, and psychology. Adama University School of Sciences has seamlessly blended conceptual learning with practice and evolved BSc and MSc courses, leading to research, academic, and corporate careers for the learners. Welcome to the wonderful world of sciences at Adama University.